Hello, boys. Hello, girls. You're now watching, if you happen to catch this live, and listening. This we upload it to iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Podbean to Peter Talks Smackdown episode 58. You hear that? That's what that just said. Episode 58 of Peter Talks Smackdown. Again, I'm going live. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get anyone checking this out, but this helps me save time rather than to record it and then process it down to do all the things. This is the longest of the processes when I'm doing these videos. The video part, not the audio part, but the video. To extract the audio, do all that shit. Now I could just go live and get everything later, and that becomes, it kills like at least a good hour and a half worth of process. So, and plus I'm starving. So check this out, right? The last time you heard from me, I was I shut down Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. To be clear, to be clear with you, what ended up happening is the recording of that episode went horribly wrong, and me and Jake had a little bit of a falling out that I thought was the basically the shit hitting the fan. It was one straw. It was the one straw that broke the camel's back, and it's been moments working with him where I felt like, oh shit, this microphone's not even plugged in. There's moments where I felt like, there we go. There we go. That probably sounds much better. Where I felt like he was taking himself just a little too seriously. Not to throw him under the bus. I try to have a good time doing the podcast. I want to talk a little shit, but not to a point where I'm want to make him look stupid, where I'm calling him out. I felt like he was calling me out on something that that was kind of unnecessary, and I probably will upload it this Wednesday when I do Peter Talks Wrestling. So y'all see how it went down, or maybe not. We'll see. Because as my fans or people who follow this, I want everyone to be out in the open about everything. This ain't something where it's like secretive. You know what I'm saying? This is something that's, I think, important. I think it's something that needs to be shared, and I think it's something that's not be taken lightly. You know, and my fans, if I followed someone and what they did ended, I would want them to be as transparent as I want to be transparent with you guys. So again, Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling stops at episode 87. Moving forward, we're gonna have Peter's Raw recap. So I'll review and do all that, like I do for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Just it's not the conversation any longer between me and someone else. It's just Peter's Raw recap. This Tuesday, I'm going to hook up with Jay. I can't think of his last name, but he's from the Keita and Jay show. I can't Jay something. I can't. I'm an idiot. I apologize. I should know his last name, but his name is Jay, and he's from from the Keita and Jay show. And we're going to talk a little wrestling on Tuesday, maybe upload it on Wednesday. Then you have Peter's Talk Smackdown. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and move it to Sundays because I have nothing to do on those days. Saturdays are always kind of called into a lot of different things. Doesn't leave me a lot of time to be able to watch and then record a review. So Monday, Peter's Raw recap. This Tuesday is with Jay from Keita and Jay show. I say Peter because her name is Keita, and it sounds a lot like Peter. So Keita, I just did it again. Jay from Keita and Jay, Keita and Jay show, and then Peter Talks Wrestling, and then Peter Talks Smackdown. So without further ado, let's get into this Smackdown from London, England. They're still in London. They still have that goddamn phone booth, and they still have that goddamn car. Like, they will not get rid of that decoration. as a WWE product. They just will not do it. You probably can date back to any and all times they've gone to fucking to the UK and they got that fucking those two damn things on stage. And I think even during the show, I think when Kevin Owens walked out, he looked over at the car like, God damn it, you again? It was pretty funny. But before the show even starts, before they even, amazing, amazing, and all that shit, they do a recap. They don't even do a Raw. I think they do a Raw recap during the show, but they didn't have to because they did a Raw rebound right before the intro where it was talking about, well, it was basically the promo between AJ Styles and Roman Reigns and the Bullet Club showing up to beat down Reigns in that whole scenario there. What stood out to me about that was the fact they did whoever the fuck is working audio in that motherfucking company deserves a raise. They deserve a fucking whatever award. They deserve a Slammy for the best editing job of all time. Because as they're cutting that promo in that piece, they've somehow edited out all the boos. Like Roman Reigns got booed so hard on Monday in England. It got booed so hard. So I'm sitting back going, there's no way in hell when they do a recap of something or a rebound or what have you, they're going to be able to edit out those boos. And sure enough, clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle. My God. Kudos to you motherfuckers. I hope Lucasfilms calls y'all up real soon because that was dynamite. Well, anyway, the first segment is Ms. TV. The people don't say it any longer, so it's, oh well, whatever. Maurice introduces him as the biggest American movie star in the world. And I will say, man, I was highly entertained. People want to give the Miz shit. I don't know. I think he's good. I think he's so good. He's good as a heel. He's good as an asshole. You know, bringing in Maurice changes up the things. And his new gimmick, even more so Hollywood gimmick. And his wrestling. He's gold. He's wrestling gold right now. And, he's the greatest, the biggest American movie star in the world. But his guest this week is AJ Styles. We remember the last time those guys had a fucking Miz TV segment. Miz didn't even allow the dude to talk. It ended with them starting a feud, going in, sort of intertwining with the whole his birth of his Jericho feud. So he confronts him. He basically is playing like he's playing gumshoe, right? He's like he's got the fucking damn near got the light in his face, and he's confronting him about just your friends. Owens, that's not Owens, but Anderson and Gallows, you sit them. You knew that this was going to happen. You sick the dogs on Reigns, which is crazy for, Reigns being the babyface, like basically the money babyface for the company, and you got The Miz defending him. That's something that stood out a little bit. I'm sitting back going, why is The Miz defending Roman Reigns? If he's a heel, he should be applauding AJ Styles for softening up the World Heavyweight Champion because he is the Intercontinental Champion, right? So his eye right now is on the prize of the World Heavyweight Championship. And rather than to fucking congratulate AJ Styles for possibly being part of that beatdown, he's out there confronting him about it. And AJ Styles is basically going like, no, I had nothing to do with it. And then that's when it gets really interesting when so The Miz has this new gimmick where he's doing takes of different scenes, different quotes. And this one is, you could tell me the truth. I can handle the truth, right? And Maurice is like, no, 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 go Will Smith. And it's like, tell the truth. Tell the truth. From the concussion commercial. I laughed so fucking hard. I mean, you don't even know how hard I laughed when I fucking saw that or heard that. He's, tell the truth. All right, let me calm the fuck down because I swear to God that was one of the funniest things I've seen in quite some time. Oh, go Will Smith. Tell the truth. So, and then in this whole process of them like, doing the takes over and over again, and they just get turned on by one another. The Maurice is like, you're so sexy. And the Miz is like, you're so hot. And they have a makeout session. And then after this makeout session, AJ Styles hits him with a 6-piece and lays him out cold. We later find out after that segment that they have a match. A Kalisto versus Ryback, the rematch from WrestleMania. Now, the last time we saw Kalisto was doing the maybe it was the Dudley Boyz match or something like that. Maybe it was against the League of Jobbers. Back to the League of Jobbers. And they played this injury angle where Kalisto was out on his back outside the ring because I think Del Rio fucked him up. But Sin Cara ended up getting his ass whooped. And Kalisto was outside for an injury angle. Now, I don't know what happened between now and, say, since Monday. He seemed to look pretty good. And I thought they were going to run with like this injury angle for Kalisto and maybe draw up a little bit of tension between him and Sin Cara because they haven't been doing too well in the tag team division. And ever since Kalisto's had that U.S. belt, it's been nothing but it's been crap with him. Like, what the hell? We go from Cena to Kalisto with how important that fucking belt is, and the fact that whatever they're doing back there in creative, this idea where they wanted to replace, Rey Mysterio with another luchador, another little man masked Latino Mexican wrestler, to getting Kalisto and him being like a badass, and then the treatment of him since he's won the championship. It's so weird. This guy should be treated better, but we'll see, because this match here, they abandoned the injury angle, and then Ryback wins clean with a shell shock. Just, he catches his ass and just drops him. 1, 2, 3 victory. Kalisto, what are they doing with this guy? Because at first I thought Ryback was going to be this motherfucker who just bounces. I think he's even on record right now on radio saying that he's not happy with what's going on with this gimmick, with his career in WWE, that he may just fucking bounce bongos. And now he comes out on fucking Smackdown and he beats a guy he lost to, the U.S. champion, a guy he lost to at WrestleMania, and he just beats him clean. He doesn't even cheat. So that story between the both of them, this clusterfuck between the two of them, I don't even know. I don't even fucking know what the fuck's going on with them. I couldn't tell you one thing why WWE is putting these guys on TV, but then they're treating them like shit, man. Like, both of them. Ryback got the win, and I still feel like he's booked as shit. Ryback has been booked as shit for the past 6 weeks. Yeah, he got that win at WrestleMania, but I think that got bumped to the pre-show so the Andre the Giant Battle Royal could move to the main show because they had Shaq in that motherfucker. I mean, those guys are just getting... both of those guys, they should actually tag up. They should be a tag team. Oh, man. What would they call? Rileysto? Fuck. Well, anyway, he grabs the belt after he fucking wins. He stands on top of Kalisto. He holds the belt, then he just throws it down on him. But we'll see. We got what we supposed to have a match between Ziggler and Corbin. Well, I was like, really? I thought this was going to be like a payback match. And as soon as Ziggler comes out, the crickets, Corbin attacks and he just beats him down, and he drops. He just drops the end of days on his ass outside again, outside the ring again. And this one looked really brutal too. But yeah, I still think this is a horrible, horrible feud to start Corbin off with, because Dolph Ziggler absolutely has no heat. He has no more momentum. He has nothing. He's just a guy who flails around. That's all he is. Dolph Flailer. That's his name now. Dolph Flailer. And when Millhouse, I can't even think of that guy's name, when he approaches him and is like, hey, why did you do that, bro? He's like, I did it because I can. All right. And there you have it. Baron Corbin. Looks like we're going to have this feud going into Payback. Next week is going to be the go-home show where I have my predictions moving forward. And speaking of that, it looks like maybe, just possibly, there's going to be a rematch of Ryback and Kalisto for the U.S. belt. We end up getting the Miz versus AJ Styles match, which was fantastic. Again, it's not like AJ Styles is in the ring with like Jay Lethal or fucking like, Nakamura or anything like that. I mean, the Miz, he's in there with the Miz, and the Miz held his fucking own yet again. It was such a great match. He told a great story. He was playing a fucking dastardly heel, to the point even one time he uses Maurice as a shield. He goes out, gets some powder. He runs around. AJ Styles follows him, and he gets behind Maurice like a fucking amazing heel should. Like, this was fantastic. And that's all I say about. That's all the praises I'll sing of the Miz. But goddamn, man, it's the little things that the Miz does, man, that makes him possibly. I mean, not possibly. I believe that he's the most effective heel on the roster. He's the most effective. He gets true heel heat, and he's great in the ring. Moves that happen during this match, you get the Yushigoroshi. That's what it's called. Okay, it's when AJ Styles has his opponent in the fisherman's carry, and he throws him over, but then they land. Their back, the center of the back, lands on the center of his knee. And that's one of the moves he brought over from the Indies. The Yushigoroshi. Miz gets on the figure 4. And AJ Styles applies the calf crusher. And then there's a point where not only does the Miz get powder, but then he also just walks it on to the back. He calls it quits. But before he can get there, guess who cuts him off at the pass? It's Gallows and Anderson. And the Miz sees them and decides to go back to the ring. But as he goes back to the ring, he catches one forearm flying, and then he gets him back into the ring. AJ Styles gets him back into the ring, and he gives him another phenomenal forearm, which I'm going to call the faux arm. All right? Whenever he does that move, it's gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous move. But after a while, I can see people kicking out. But I'm going to call that motherfucker the faux arm. And the Miz goes down in flames. AJ Styles just defeats. I mean, okay. Gallows and Anderson does not lay one hand on him, okay? So it's not like he really got any help. But to be the Intercontinental Champion, and AJ Styles, again, who's the number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, he pinned the champion. He beat him clean. He pinned the champion. So if this whole WWE World Heavyweight Champion thing doesn't really work out, really pan out, at least he has the Intercontinental Championship. He has a win over the Intercontinental Champion, so he would at least be entitled for a shot. Now, Cesaro may end up going against. Well, sorry. Cesaro may end up winning the belt off of him, but let's just say the next feud is AJ Styles and Cesaro, depending on what they want to do with AJ Styles, because it looks like they're trying to like turn him heel. Maybe not. I don't know. But I would enjoy watching an intercontinental feud between Cesaro and AJ Styles. I think it'd be really fun. Ambrose and Zayn in the back with what the hell is that guy's name? I just call him Millhouse because that's what Kevin Owens calls him. It's gonna hit me in a minute. But Zayn's just jabbering and he says spotted dick. I think because he's in London, and I think spotted dick is I don't know. Is it a cuisine? Is it a dish? I don't know. But he was able to say it and get away with it. And Zayn is talking about clever names for the both of them, you know? Because I saw this one thing earlier where it was like Jericho as a tag team name for Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, Jericho. But I think he was like Zayn Asylum, and Zayn Asylum I think was one of them. He came up with some couple of other ones, but dumbass Ambrose is like, dude, we're just called the Rough Riders. That's when I felt like Zack Ryder should have showed up and be like, bro, no. But that's them, Zayn. Poor Zayn. Gallows and Anderson is confronted in the back about aligning with AJ Styles. They denounce aligning with AJ Styles, and they announce their in-ring debut at the next Monday Night Raw. So we're going to get Gallows and Anderson WWE in-ring debut as a tag team this Monday. That was like the announcement. We get Natty and Paige versus Team Bad, which is, I guess they still go by Bad. Naomi and Tamina Snuka. The match itself was no more than a homecoming for Paige. It ends with a sharpshooter and a PTO in stereo. Like the both of them had their moves on to basically end the match. I mean, I'm maybe because I'm spacing out a little bit, but it just ended like that. Like nothing really much to it. Nothing really moves forward. No Charlotte Flair around. No nothing. It's just, hey, Paige, you're home. This is my house like 3 times, and you get the sharpshooter, and you get the Paige tap out on the 2 sisters. Then we get to R-Truth versus Fandango as Goldust as the ref. This is just a comedy shtick, a lot of gyrating of the hips. I think London is over Fandango, okay, WWE. You don't have to stroll him out there. I guess he loves it, but nevertheless, as a fan, I'm like, hey, I remember when it was hot over there with him and, you know, the Fandango dance and all that shit, but not so much anymore. Just a bunch of dancing, but Truth wins, I think, with the lie detector or some shit like that. And then Kid and R-Truth and Fandango. It was so bad, it's fucking me up. Attempt to do a Kid and Play kick step, and Goldust just has no idea how to keep the rhythm to make that shit work. Maybe moving forward, they're going to be a tag team now. We'll see. I mean, it's like the 9th week of that storyline. I mean, it's funny, no less, but at some point, I mean, we're going to need a payoff. possibly a feud, tag team, possibly a feud. But you just had some shit go down with AJ Styles and Jericho where they were a tag team. They had merchandise that lasted one day as a tag team. So we get a promo off between Big Cass and the Vaudevillains. They will meet each other at Payback. There will be no championship defense by the New Day at Payback. There's going to be a final, the final tag team. The number one. It was a final for the number one contender to the tag team championships. And yeah, Kaz and Enzo just basically they talk their shit. Vaudevillains are proper in talking their shit, which I think is really good. I see them get a lot of what chance. I see those guys actually at some point getting some heat. I predicted they would make it to the final. And I think WWE may just be high on these guys. A gimmick match between the New Day and the Vaudevillains would be okay. I think that the New Day would just crack on them. I think that it's perfect. Seeing the New Day and Kaz and Enzo go back and forth would be a little too soon. And plus, I don't see anyone going over if that was the case. If Kaz and Enzo go up against New Day, like they will cancel each other out, so it'd be kind of hard to root or boo for anybody. The Vaudevillains are clear. I mean, you could make fun of them for ages, and the way that they talk, the way they carry themselves, they're heel worthy. Now, possibly after this match, or say after if they lose to Kaz and Enzo, or say they lose to the New Day moving forward, they'll shoot down to superstars because their gimmick is not that, it's not to be really taken seriously. But man, I would much rather see a New Day. I'd much rather see a New Day Vaudevillain feud for now, and let Kaz and Enzo focus on someone else, possibly the Colognes. And then we get the main event of tonight's show was Jericho. Well, I'll just say Jericho versus the Rough Riders, Zayn and Ambrose. This is what it was. I mean, if you know how I feel about how these guys fight, these guys don't get heat. They refuse to get heat on each other. Owens, I think, tries to beat down the babyface a lot until the babyface decides he wants to get his shit in, very much like this match now. But it's 50-50. It's 50-50 fighting, and no one can get any real heat. You get a lot of crazy athleticism, get some high spots, you get some ground and pound, but nobody gets any real heat. There's a spot where I think where shit gets real hectic, and you have Sami Zayn run and do sort of a falling drop kick, right? I think on Jericho, and Ronaldo calls it the haluva kick. And it's such an awkward moment where it's like, no, Ronaldo, that is not the haluva kick. And Barry Sackner had to correct him. It was like a really awkward moment. I mean, it's taped. They could have done something. They could have cut that out or something, but they didn't. But that was pretty funny. And Owens gets the pin on Ambrose because he's going up. He's going on the top rope, right? And it's your basic heel move where Jericho kind of grabs his leg. He falls. His nuts lands on the ropes. He falls inside the ring, and KO just covers him. 1, 2, 3. The heels win. And I go, damn. That's how that goes down? That's how that happens? You mean to tell me we're watching this show, whether it's television or you're in London, and you get that screwy finish like that? I mean, there could be a screwy finish. There could be a pin where, he's trying to kick out, but Jericho has him by the legs or something like that. But his nuts. Oh, look, he hurt his nuts. Oh man, you could have done something better than that. You could have, shame on you, WWE. You could have done better than that for that ending, for this show that was generally pretty good. I mean, if you see the description box, it says I have nothing negative to say, but that if I was to say one negative thing, that would be it. That dumbass ending, because it wasn't convincing, right? Oh, my poor nuts. It wasn't convincing. But what happens afterwards, it's something that is pure gold, and you see it in my description. I guess when you see the box and it has, Peter Talk Smackdown, my little cover story thumbnail. All of a sudden, Jericho comes around and KO runs up to him and jumps into his arms, and they embrace like that for like a good couple of seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, because Kevin Owens is pretty heavy. It is good, man. It caught me off guard. I saw something on, I think the Solomon Sound Off the page, and somebody was like, someone posted the GIF, but I thought it was like a house show or something. And then when I finally saw SmackDown and I saw it happen, I was like, man, that's pretty amazing. I ran into Terrence Polk yesterday, and he was telling me some things, a couple of spoiler alerts and all that. And we were talking about the Jericho Kevin Owens. And is this, because Kevin Owens doesn't like anyone he ever tags up with. He doesn't like anybody he tags with, right? But then all of a sudden, he's like all about teaming with Jericho. I get it, the Canadian, connection that they have. But I wonder if this is going to be a ploy. And it's funny, because I'm sitting here talking about Ambrose and Zayn, and those guys are nerds. I don't care about them. Zayn's a fucking nerd. He's getting booked as a fucking geek. Ambrose is just, I don't know. He just doesn't work for me. But I'm more focused on Owens and Jericho. Because again, no more highlight reel. It looks like he's on his way out. And this is some of his best work as a heel. Owens has a legacy right now, a short legacy, but is a legacy enough of him screwing over anyone he's working with. It seems like he's like this boy in a candy store working with like his idol, Chris Jericho. But maybe, just maybe, it's soon to come that, maybe they'll lose something, and Owens blames Jericho and turns on Jericho. And if this is the last hurrah, again, I'm totally convinced that this is the last hurrah for Chris Jericho, his best heel work, and maybe, just maybe, they'll have him go out as a really big baby face and possibly getting over Kevin Owens as a dominant heel. And, the way he's been getting over everyone else, I think it would be only fair that Kevin Owens goes over on him, save SummerSlam. Unless Jericho makes it to another WrestleMania and goes up against someone young to put over. But that's SmackDown. It was a SmackDown show. Again, I had nothing really bad to say about it. I thought parts were really funny. I thought the wrestling was really good. I think the storylines worked. Everything ran smoothly. I mean, other than I guess the fact that Truth and Goldust I think they're going to become a tag team finally. The Kalisto Ryback thing is kind of weird. We don't know where they're going with both of those guys. Ziggler Corbin. Okay, pretty sure we're going to get a payback out of him. Miz AJ Styles was awesome. Only thing that was not worth a damn was the ending to the main event and the Paige, Natty, and Team Bad segment. I mean, it was a waste of time. So yeah, if I was to give it, I give it a strong B plus. It wasn't that great, but it was not bad at all. So yeah, thank you for checking out. I think I said my final words about Jericho. And R.I.P. to China. All right, China. if I was to say one word about, say my piece about China, China was one of the biggest stars that wrestling's ever seen in its hottest period, in wrestling's hottest period ever. Okay? The Attitude Era. You had Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had The Rock, and you had China. I don't care how you feel about her right now or what she did with her porn and how she failed, just fucking just nosedive with her life. That woman in the world of wrestling will be remembered forever. I just happened to be sitting outside, eating and hanging out, having a beer. I was sitting at this random table, and the discussion came up. What I did, I was like, I'm a podcaster, and she's like, well, what do you podcast? I was like, professional wrestling. The first thing she asked me was like, whatever happened to China, right? I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I said, she died 2 days ago. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, she died 2 days ago. And she went on and says, man, when I was young, I loved China. I was so obsessed with China as a kid that she was a real role model to me. And I'm sitting there going, ain't that a blip? This is like a casual, right? Okay, who doesn't like wrestling when they're young? But she's now a grown woman, and the first thing she asked me, that's how big of a star she was, man. That's how big of a star she was. And she had no idea that she had died, or even died as recent as 2-3 days ago. And we were just like, yeah, what happened? What had happened was Prince died too. It's like she was Farrah Fawcett, basically to Michael Jackson, right? So, yeah, man, you look at what happened after Stephanie McMahon basically took her man, Triple H, and her getting blackballed by everyone. Maybe she had a couple of friends out there that stuck by her side, but for the most part, people kept a arm's length from her. Even if she would have never done the porn, even with the whole Sean Waltman thing, people kept her at arm's distance, and it wasn't fair, and it was petty, because the strongest woman in the wrestling business, being that is Stephanie McMahon, took Triple H, and no one wanted to get on her bad side by remaining friends with China. Everyone's safe now. They can come out the woodworks and talk about how they love China and how China's this and how China's that. But when she needed you the most, you were not there. And it was because of your fear of the McMahon family and Stephanie. And I'll just leave it at that. It sucks that she went out like that. They couldn't find her body. She had been abandoned by everyone. And that woman helped so many careers. She helped Triple H's career. She helped everyone's career in the Attitude Era. When people were fucking just spending hand over foot with cash to shows and merchandise and going to the live shows, they were going to see her. And everyone benefited. Stone Cold, The Rock, maybe some Mankind or what have you. But it was, China was in that fucking, she was in there, man. She was in there drawing cash. 7 figures. She was making 7 figures, man. A woman has never done that before. Alundra Blaze, never. You name all the top female stars. Lita. You name it. Trish Stratus. You name the name. No one's come close to the amount of money that woman drew. Or how much money she had in her account. So, that's my China piece. And I wish it was different. I wish it was less frustrated, but it's frustrated. And you still get people talking shit about China. And I feel like, man, fuck y'all. To a certain degree. And plus, shout out to Prince. What can you say about Prince? I will say it's a shame that his legacy to this generation is no more than a Charlie Murphy skit. He's bigger than that. He's better than that. He's one of the greatest musicians, top 3 greatest musicians that the world's ever seen. Songwriters the world's ever seen. Producers the world has ever seen. For him to go out the way he did it still doesn't sit well with me. Something's not right about his death. It's just not, something's not right. And I guess the autopsy comes out today and or Monday, and we'll find out what really happened. But yeah, I'm not at all happy about how that went down. So check it out. That's the end of the podcast. Be sure to hit the subscription button below. If you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Podbean, make sure you add me to your favorites. If you're watching on YouTube, again, if you want, and I didn't promote this, but I'm wearing my North Carolina wrestling shirt, right? It just says wrestling in the state of North Carolina. If you like your own, if you live in North Carolina, or you don't live in North Carolina, you want one anyway, or you live in another state, say you live in Ohio, say you live in Florida, say you live in Illinois, or you live in Pennsylvania, I can make custom. I could do one for you as well. So hit the link below and read the description, and all the information is there. So if you're interested in this, I just posted it today. I was supposed to promote it last week for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, but that didn't happen for various reasons. But yes, you can also, outside of buying the shirt, so buy the shirt, get a shirt, you get your own steak too. Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, I don't care, I just want you to express yourself. Leave a comment below. And you can also share. That's the most important part. Share it on any and all your social media mediums possible, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest. It don't matter. Your blogger, just share it. I would gladly appreciate it. And you will see me tomorrow night for and plus I'm going to start uploading Peter's Raw recap to the RSS feed as well. So you'll see me live tomorrow after Raw, and then you will hear me on Peter's Raw recap as well. So watch out for those foreign objects. Buy a t-shirt. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.